Hello, everyone. It's Nancy Rebecca, and I'm going to be talking about some Ascension symptoms that I've been hearing about from many of you who've been really kind of paying attention to the frequencies and the energies happening on the earth at this time. So I'm really curious, are you feeling any headachy, extreme insomnia, maybe seeing things out of the corner of your eye that isn't there? How about time? Are you losing track of time? Is time speeding up, time slowing down? Do you have this kind of space orientation that has you feeling a little off kilter where you may know you need to go right, but you're turning left? There's a lot of reasons for that, and it has a lot to do with the blue light surge that just happened this last weekend and is going to be happening throughout the entire month of November. So I'm Nancy with Intuitive Mind, and so I'm just going to talk about some of the experiences, break it down a little bit, maybe to help you understand a little bit more, because I am a clairvoyant psychic. I'm a registered nurse. My passion is the human energy field, how the human energy field does in relationship to any kind of influence from the energy field that may be causing you to feel off kilter. So we've recently had an incredibly large blue light galactic celestial surge. We know a lot about it that's coming through from the Orion constellation, from the planet Sirius. There's a lot of star beings that are involved. The frequency really took an enormous surge this past weekend. So I thought that I would start there to just really share just a little bit about what's going on. I've been talking about it for years, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of the highlight. So on Saturday, November 4th, 2023, was an enormous surge of this kind of celestial galactic light that did come through the very first Mesa in Arizona. It really saturated the earth and really shifted a lot of energy. Well, you're human. We have trees on the earth. We have plants. We have stones and mountains and crystals and all kinds of animals that are on the earth. And so we are impacted by that. And in fact, I've talked a lot about how this higher frequency is helping us to move as humanity into a higher frequency of consciousness, of awakening, of enlightenment, but mostly helping us to really become much more sensitive, to connect with other people, and to start building that unity consciousness as we move into these next new phases of, some people might call it, a new world. So on Saturday, when that surge came through, I did witness it come through that first Mesa in Arizona, of which it will come through 3 mesas in the whole month of November. I noticed this real softening of the Mesa. I noticed as the blue light went through it, there was a lot of releasing that the Mesa did. And then that blue light went ahead and surged right on into the earth, as many of you were meditating with it all at the same time. There was some old kind of karma, old past lives, old trauma, violence, woundedness that was saturated in the earth, betrayal, that goes back generations after generations after generations, that broke open. It was almost like a membrane popped open and enabled a lot of this old pain in the earth to drain and dissolve. We've been having a lot of light beings coming around, star beings coming around. I'm going to be talking about the Orions, the Sirians, the Pleiadians, and the Lyrans. There's over 20 different types of star beings, but I'm just going to talk about those over the month of November, so stay tuned in so you can get some more information about those different star beings. Maybe you share the genetic DNA from star seeds, so you'll get more information about that. But how does this really integrate? That's what I want to talk about today, is how is this integrating at the human level? Because once that surge happened, once that kind of light got flipped, because we're living in this third dimensional world, and while we're preparing for a fifth dimensional reality to infuse into the third dimensional world. So that happened almost in definitely about 8 minutes or less. Even though we were tuned in, there was that no time, no space. It felt like a long time, but it was very, very quick when it happened. We've been preparing for this for 2 years, and we will be preparing this this time for the entire month. But to see that much of a frequency shift and change in 8 minutes was pretty impressive. So how are you doing now? So here I'm sensitive to frequencies. I work in this all the time, but that frequency was so high. It was almost like our spirit level was floating very high while our physical body was just kind of going on about life. I felt personally like I was I was suspended in kind of midair. I almost felt like, I was being picked up, kind of like a strong current, strong river type wave that was moving me along. And I just didn't know where I was going to be put down. I would have conversations with people. I was really struggling to find my words. I didn't find it very funny. And I'd say, just give me a minute here. Like, there's been a lot that's changed in the world. So just give me a minute to find my words and kind of grab hold of what thought I'd like to express. But this is the other thing, because I kept trying to explain it. So last night I was explaining it to Yvonne, and I said, it feels to me like I've got 20 different radios surrounding me on 20 different channels, and that the volume is turned up and all those frequencies are getting jammed inside of me. However, it felt like it had these kind of emotional threads to it. So I felt myself trying to kind of pull at each thread and kind of pull it out of my system. Because I've been a professional psychic for 25 years now, I know how to read things and read things pretty quickly. I was way out of my element. My intuition, nothing. I was just swimming in midair. I didn't know what was up, down, front, back. But it kind of started to settle down to like 10 frequencies last night. And today I would say it's down to 5 or 6 frequencies that I'm trying to wade my way through. But it dawned on me that you're probably going through similar things. You're trying to kind of figure out what just happened to us all. And so it's kind of like, yeah, tune in and see, are you able to kind of tap into the inner wisdom in the way you've been able to in the past? Now, some of you have maybe really opened up more to your intuitive psychic ability, and you just may be flying high because you're super excited, because things are really enhanced at a crystal clear clarity in a way that is very different on the earth. And I've heard people say, wow, it's like walking in nature feels magical. All right, so let me just talk about why are the majority of people having the Ascension symptom of headaches. So when this blue light comes in, it's a very high frequency. It almost forces, insists, demands that you be in that grounded, centered, spiritual perspective of looking at life. But now you've got this mind of yours that might be doubtful or judgmental, or you think you're crazy, or you're trying to think and you can't find your words. Your mind may be desperate to hang on to those mental aspects of processing. So how are things going to change for us in the next 2 or 3 years? That's going to shift more. So you're going to notice more of looking at life from that spiritual perspective, and your mind is just going to need to let go. So it's actually very exciting, but we don't know how to do that. I talk about when souls cross over on the other side, they think that they still need to walk, but they don't. They glide. They still think they have a voice box, they can talk, but they don't. They have to learn how to communicate telepathically. So things are very, very similar for us, is that we're just learning a new way to really connect with our body. So headaches are the old mental energy is trying to hang on while you're trying to let it go. All right, insomnia. This is probably number one, should be at the number one on my list. People are waking up, not going to sleep at all, or waking up at 1, 2, or 3 in the morning. I know I've been waking up every morning at 3 o'clock, and it's as if I've just had a whole pot of coffee. It's just, I am wide awake. There is no way I'm going to capture that sleep. So I just go ahead and get up. So what's happening is when you have a flood of new light coming into your crown chakra can open up to 100%. Well, it's really too much for the human body. You need to be able to close that crown chakra down a little bit. So I always tell people it's quite simple. I mean, I do teach psychic intuitive development, but it's like, imagine your spiritual chakra is open 100%. You definitely want to pretend and imagine that you can just turn that dial down and close it down to 30% or less. So just practice with it, play with it, and you may find that you will have an easier time going to sleep. But you are being downloaded with a lot of new knowledge, spiritual knowledge that we have not had access to before. And so that too can keep you in those wide awake states. Now, seeing things out of the corner of your eye, I'm hearing about this a lot. So the spirit world, first of all, I'm seeing light codes and sparkles coming down, not flooding the planet, but I am definitely seeing them. But spirits are in that other dimension. It's quite thin right now. And when you're focused forward out of the corner of your eye, it's much easier to see the spirit world. But then suddenly you turn your head to look at them. You've got that hard focus with your eyes. It's like they disappear. But this is the thing. They don't disappear. They're still there. It's just that when you try to over-focus, then it's hard to see them. So you definitely want to soften your gaze, very dreamy, like you're daydreaming, and then slowly turn and see if you can still kind of see them through that veil. So if you are having experiences of seeing energies around you, that's what you're doing. You're starting to develop your sight. Not everybody is going to develop their sight, but for those that are, you will start to see it off to the side. I did ask Spirit once, why do you come in the side like that? And they said, well, imagine, Nancy, if we walked straight up to you, full on, it'd scare you to death. And they were right. So I'm like, all right, I get it. All right, time and space. So what we're going through now, what we're going to be going through in the next 6 months easily, is we're really connected to the Galactic Center and the, what was the other one? The Galactic Center and the, I can't remember. I'm going to have to let it go. Oh, the Great Attractor. So both of those are in outer space. So the Galactic Center, my friends call it, and I call it the beyond, it's like no, it's the area of nothing that's filled with everything. And so what that means is it's almost like all the knowledge of the world, very neutral, very, very centered. It's just pure knowledge exists there, but it's like there's no time or space. It's just floating. So we're getting a lot of influence from the Galactic Center. And then the Great Attractor is this, it really functions with gravity. It's kind of pulling at us at the same time. And that's warping the concepts of time, and it's warping that concept of space. I've had people telling me that their clock kind of slowed down or it really sped up. Now, when the vibration frequency goes high, then time does slow down. And when the vibrations and frequencies are really low, time does speed up. So don't be surprised if you look at the clock 1 minute and it's this time, and then you look at another minute and that has changed. And the space thing, the other day there was an item I literally sat it there. I turned around to grab a tissue. When I looked back, it was gone. I looked everywhere. I called Yvonne, asked her, can you look around? And so I thought I was kind of, I don't know, maybe I imagined it differently. But the bottom line was it reappeared again after about 10 or 15 minutes. So yeah, that can mess with your head a little bit. Now, the way it's been kind of explained in some of the things that I've read is that jumping timelines, or that space continuum, is that things may move into another frequency dimension that you just can't happen to see in yet. And then it'll come back into this dimension. So I don't know. I think we're going to be experiencing a lot of this. So it does cause us right now, we can feel kind of distant, disoriented. And so I wanted to talk about the different layers of intuition, because that maybe will help explain a little bit more, because hey, we're human. We want to try to figure out all of this stuff. But the bottom line is we are expanding enormously. We are experiencing probably one of the biggest quantum leaps that we will experience in our lifetime, and maybe in many lifetimes. So intuitively, what that kind of disorientation where you don't know what's left or what's right, it's because the blue light, when it comes in, it's almost like you go into such an expanded state, and then when you come back together again, those cells have taken on a different form, like a butterfly that's coming out of a cocoon. It goes in as a larvae, and it goes through a metamorphosis. It literally liquefies, and then when the liquid comes back together again, this beautiful butterfly is created. So you're kind of going through a metamorphosis of some sort, where you're still going to be the same person, but a little bit, hopefully for me, a little more organized. All right, so let me just talk about the clairs really quickly. So clairsentient, if you are a clear feeler and empath, what's happening right now is you have male and female energy channels. Everybody does. You have emotional channels, you have sexual channels, and you have creative channels. Your spirit moves through those beautiful channels in the body to help your body express through life. Help your spirit loves working through these body channels, just like, learning how to play the piano. So when those channels get blocked and clogged with old pain, yeah, that's when we can kind of lose our stuff. That's when we may be a little trigger happy emotionally. What I'm noticing is some really beautiful emotions are starting to come through. So you may be experiencing that enormous, beautiful sexual energy, which isn't always about, having sex. It's a very magnetic, it helps dissolve resistance. So beautiful sexual energy is starting to really flow. Creative energy off the charts, because that blue light energy frequency is just like a pure elixir of creativity. So if it's really pouring, and it is pouring through your entire system, don't be surprised if your body says, hey, I want to express through my creativity. All right, and then we have the male and female, which is really coming into balance with the 3 surges of blue we're having this month. I'll talk more about that at another time. The clear hearing, oh my goodness. So I have clear hearing. I can hear guides and spirits. I couldn't always, I've developed it, but what I've noticed in the past 2 days is I'm hearing like 5 of the same voices at the same time, like a deck of cards, and all 5 people are talking at the same time, exact in unison with the same tone of voice and everything. And so, I've switched my phone off and on. I took my headphones off and tried to listen to it. I was doing all kinds of things, and it still keeps happening to me. And so I think there is an adjustment, attunement to these higher frequencies. And what the blue star beings told me is, what's happening is we're starting to hear through many dimensions at the same time. So that's a really cool thing, but you can imagine it's a little disturbing if you hear it. I'd love to hear in the comments section if you're having experiences like that. Seeing, I've already told you, there's almost like this, definitely beyond, third, fourth, fifth dimension. It's almost like you can look at a tree, you can see through it, around it, all at the same time. Nature is stunningly beautiful right now with this blue surge. And I've already told you about seeing spirits and things. So you may find that your psychic sight is starting to open up. I've always been told in my lifetime, that's why I had to prepare these classes that I teach, because people would be rapidly awakening to their abilities and they would need to know how to work with them. So, and then knowing. So knowing, intuitive knowing, is the highest capacity, intuitive capacity of all, and by far the least appreciated. So you're going to find, I just know I'm following this blue light, information. I just know I'm having an experience with the blue light. I just know that I've had experiences with star beings, or I just know that I need to do this at work, or I just know. So if you just say those words, I just know, don't be surprised to get downloaded with a lot of information that maybe you didn't know before. It's a super exciting time that we are experiencing right now. We have just finished what I call the kind of the Earth Lodge, the Earth Mound, where the blue light came to the Earth. On November 18th, we will have another large surge that will be more connected to water. And then on November 25th, that connection will be with the cosmos, with the stars. So people are asking, what do I do right now? Right now, you're just going to integrate. If you were handed a bicycle and you don't know how to ride it, you're going to have the training wheels on and you're going to practice until you can take maybe one off and maybe the next off later. So you're practicing how to navigate these new abilities that you have, this new knowledge, high level capacity to understand things, and communicate telepathically, maybe see spirits, or just feel better. That's all we really want, right? We just want to feel better in life, and we want to be content. We want everyone we love around us to feel content too. So just know each and every one of you is being touched by this beautiful cosmic blue frequency that's coming through, whether you are consciously aware of it or not. But just hang in, because I'm going to be talking about the blue light and the star beings all month long and writing about them as well in my blog. So stay tuned and let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I will get back with you there. All right, take care, everyone.